I'm Lori Thomas Vass, the author of books at the Great American Business and Economics Press, also known as Gabby Press. I'd like to welcome you to the Moores Creek National Battlefield in Curie, North Carolina. I'm here to honor the life of Private John Grady of Duplin County, North Carolina, who was the first patriot killed in battle in North Carolina's first victory in the American War for Independence on February 27, 1776. John Grady was killed fighting for liberty. Here is his inscription. Here lie the remains of Private John Grady of Duplin County, who fell bravely fighting for his country, the first martyr in the cause of freedom in North Carolina, and the only Whig killed in this battle. As a result of this first patriot victory, the North Carolina delegates to the state's constitutional convention instructed their delegates to vote for independence. North Carolina was the first state to vote for liberty against the British tyranny. Mecklenburg County gave their delegates to the state's constitutional convention the following instructions in drafting the state's constitution. Quote, that you shall consent to and approve the declaration of the Continental Congress in declaring 13 united colonies free and independent states. 2. That you shall endeavor to establish a free government under the authority of the people of the state of North Carolina, and that the government be a simple democracy or as close as near possible. That in fixing the fundamental principles of government, you shall oppose everything that leans to aristocracy or power in the hands of the rich and chief men, exercised to the oppression of the poor. 4. That you shall endeavor that the form of government shall contain a Bill of Rights that sets forth the rights of the people, of the individuals, which shall never be infringed by any future time by the lawmaking power or any other derived power of the states. End quote. Our nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal, is once again engaged in a great revolutionary battle between liberty and the Democrat Marxists. In this great battle with the Marxists, I draw strength and resolve from Grady's death and allegiance to defend liberty. I also draw lessons from North Carolina's history of what type of government comes next for the patriots today who want to protect their homes and families from the distant tyranny. I argue that Madison's Constitution ended in a coup, and that the powerful centralized government created by Madison is now in the hands of the Marxist Democrats. Madison's rules created a plutocracy, and I argue that the Articles of Confederation, the nation's first constitution, contained a better framework for protecting liberty than Madison's centralized government. In many ways, my arguments echo the arguments of George Mason against ratification of Madison's document, because Madison failed to state in his preamble that the mission of government is to protect liberty. We further allege that Madison's centralized government continues to be the cause for national disunion. We argue that if Madison had retained the features of state sovereignty and the ideology of liberty of the Declaration, that the Civil War and the ensuing broken promises of liberty for common citizens would have been avoided. We conclude our new book, quote, America's Final Revolution, Reconstructing Jefferson's Broken Promise of Liberty, that the conflict with the Marxist Democrats is irreconcilable. It's time for a national dissolution and to start over at the point in history of Jefferson's Declaration. We argue that the United States will never be able to live up to Jefferson's promise of liberty until Madison's defective document is replaced with a constitution of a democratic republic that makes liberty the mission statement of the new nation. There is only one path back to liberty. I'm Lori Thomas Vass, and this video is a copyrighted production of the Great American and Business Economic Press. I encourage you to join me in our fight with the Democrat Marxist.